Hey guys, happy Saturday morning, and I hope you got your big bowl of cereal, Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, and we're going to start talking about a cartoon today. We'll go into a little bit of news first.
Yeah.
You got? I mean, what are some bullet points?
Big headline: Sci-Fi Channel cancels Rick Remender's Deadly Class.
We're going to be talking about that
after first season, and also Christopher Maloney and Patton Oswalt's series Happy was also.
We'll be talking about that
after 2 seasons,
and we'll be talking about a new trailer that dropped. So anyway, with that, roll credits.
Please remember to like, subscribe and comment, as we love to hear back from our viewers. Also, if you enjoy our videos, please consider becoming a patron of our show through Patreon and or GoFundMe. Links are listed below the video in the description. From the deepest, darkest recesses of Dangerous Nerds headquarters, Keith Moncrief and Gary Kissel.
And we're back from the credits. Thanks for sticking around. And what are we? So let's start this off. Before we get into the Saturday morning cartoon, let's get some of this news out of the way that we need to talk about, which was Sci-Fi Channel. Because Sci-Fi Channel, they did something I consider very underhanded this year. They greenlit another season of Winona Earp, but didn't fund it. They canceled it without canceling it.
Yeah, that's very.
It's really dirty. That's dirty baseball, you know. And it's Sci-Fi has been on my shit list since when they got sold and they canceled Eureka.
Yeah.
It just a bunch of stupid people on that network.
Well, it's basically become more or less a very pale version of Canada's Space Channel, which in my opinion, they should just go ahead and get rid of Sci-Fi and just give us
the Canadian Space Channel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It'd make more sense. But that's just us.
Sorry.
Deadly Class, though, which was produced.
I didn't like the show.
Really?
No. Neither did the dogs. You hear that? They did not like it.
It was also produced by the Russo brothers, and I loved it. I loved every moment of the show.
People who want us to disagree, here you go.
Yeah, we disagree on Deadly Class. I think it was a fun show. It's a show that I think definitely could wind up on Netflix if Netflix weren't in hock.
And it's the kind of show I think they'd be interested in.
Yeah. But also it's a rare show because it was being show ran by the guy that actually created the comic. So what you were getting was really the real essence and truth of the comic writ large as a series. And again, I got to commend them. Their use of music and everything else makes it, in my opinion, one of the best television shows out there for truly trying to represent what the 80s was really like rather than the whole commercial version of the 80s that we seem to get in a lot of
or that colorless version that they did in Atomic Blonde.
Oh, that was
really bad, wasn't it?
Also Happy, which is just...
I enjoy that show.
Yeah, bonkers is the word.
It's insanity. Pure insanity. It's I watched an episode recently that just, it was the most recent episode, and I was blown away at the insanity of the show. But I don't think it's getting the ratings that they want. So they canceled it.
Yeah.
And this is according to Variety, was it?
Yeah, Variety. My thing is this. You can afford to do like 5 or 6 Sharknadoes, and you can't basically come up with enough money to finance at least one of these 3 shows that you figured out a way of canceling. I mean, ugh.
Well, there you go. Well, he says 3. He's also referring to the Winona Earp thing, because even though they didn't cancel it, they canceled it. That, you know, when you tell somebody, hey, we're going to give you another season, but we're not going to fund it, so good luck.
Very CBS Kojak of you, because that's exactly what...
That is what happened with Kojak. The original, not the reboot.
Not the reboot.
The reboot was just not well done. And even though it had one of my favorite actors, Ving Rhames. I thought he was perfect. I'm like going, if I picked a new Kojak, that's the guy. But that show is just not well done. It was a big mistake. So let's see, what's some more? Apple dropped the first trailer for its original series, For All Mankind. And I watched that and I shared it with everybody because I saw it right when it was released. It popped up. And I'm like, whoa.
Starring Joel Kinnaman, who you may know from Suicide Squad.
As well as the Amazon series.
Netflix series Altered Carbon.
The Altered Carbon, Amazon series Hannah.
Yes.
And he's also was RoboCop in a movie iteration that was not great. It wasn't horrible, but it was not great.
And he'll be returning or reprising the role of Rick Flag in James Gunn's That
was good news because originally they said he was not coming back.
Yeah.
But I think his star meter is high enough that they should be having him back.
Yeah.
I love him. First thing I ever saw him on was The Killing on AMC.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like him the first season. I'm like, this guy's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But, well, that was the first half of the season. Second half of the season, I started really empathizing with this character. It's sort of like the kid off of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Because I hated him the entire first season. And then all of a sudden,
Jesse,
I started really digging him because they were giving him a little more depth as a character come that second season.
Mm-hmm.
But that first season, he was just an annoying guy that talked like he was from the hood. And I'm like, man. We have a moth in the studio. But For All Mankind is an amazing concept. And it's brought to us by Ronald D. Moore, the man who saved Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and then got effed out of doing
anything else,
Enterprise
right?
for Star Trek. And he left Star Trek and did Battlestar Galactica as his revenge. And
he is one of a very small number of people, in my opinion, one of only 5 who could actually cure all the ills with Star Trek Discovery and fix all of the problems that Picard has.
Yep. But they won't.
They won't do that.
Because CBS wants their version of Star Trek, not Gene Roddenberry's. So, and if Ronald D. Moore comes in, he's going to do what the guy that got fired from the show in the first place wanted to do, is have it connected. But, oh well. Anyway, so the show is about the space race between Russia and America.
Mm-hmm. Except in this
Russia
version,
beat us.
Yep, made it to the moon.
So it's like a war about space, of getting there and controlling the moon. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. My chips, I'm all in. I'm all in.
And it's Ronald D. Moore.
Yeah, I love that guy. I mean, he's why I watched Helix. Even though I considered Helix a failure as a series, that first 3/4 of the first season was some of the best damn TV at the time. Yeah. But then it took this weird turn, and I was out. And I did not even bother watching the second season. It sounded stupid to me. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, yeah, I'm not in. I'm taking my chips back. But Ronald D. Moore is brilliant. I think he's one of the best writers on TV, much less science fiction. So, well, anyway.
The next big thing is that Warner Media, which we talked about in our last episode, they have a new project coming in. It's called Tokyo Vice, and it's starring Ansel Elgort, who was the lead in Baby Driver. Okay, and it's for director Destin Daniel Cretton, who is the guy, who was the director picked by Marvel Studios to direct their film called Shanghai, Master of Kung Fu.
Kung Fu!
That's to be one of their major films coming in to phase 4 for them.
I think I'll enjoy that show.
Yeah. So that, and we also have photos that have arrived online. Yeah,
if you haven't seen them, go check them out.
Yeah.
I guess we can put the link down below.
Yeah, photos for the new Black Widow movie that's currently filming as we speak. So that, and the rumor right now that production designer Eve Stewart who is responsible for Cats and Les Miserables, or Les Mis, has been hired to work on Marvel Studios' The Eternals.
That sounds pretty cool. And that's the one, of course, that we've been hearing rumors about Keanu Reeves. So.
Yeah, joining Angelina Jolie and a bunch of other stars in a film that is just, it's going to be huge.
Question, is Keanu Reeves in a relationship?
With his gun, yes.
I'm just asking because if he's going to work with Angelina Jolie, look out, baby. I know I went there. Don't do it, Keanu. It's not worth it.
You're so cool right now, Keanu. Don't do it. But, anyway, the final bit of news that we want to get into is that Marvel Studios plans to, basically, it is assumed that Marvel Studios will be discussing its Phase 4 plans at the upcoming D23. Okay? Yeah. So Disney released its schedule for D23, which will start with Saturday, August 24th. That will be dedicated to the Disney Film Division, which will be divided into the Walt Disney live action films, Walt Disney Animation, Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel Studios. And Marvel Studios is expected to basically give you everything, their entire slate that will encompass all of Phase 4, really. Now, the reason why this is important is because last episode we reported that Warner Brothers has decided that they're going to skip Hall H. Well, basically, part of the reason why they're doing it is because this is a D23 year, which means Marvel Studios is pretty much not really going to do too much at San Diego this year anyway.
Odd.
Well, they've got D23. That's what they're trying to transition to. And basically...
Don't bother with Comic-Con. Come to D23.
And the reason why they do that is that Disney is very good at controlling everything. You do not get leaks. You do not see anything online unless it's something that Disney
And you don't
wants
see
to
them turning on each other publicly.
That's right.
That's why you did not see Bob Iger tear Kathleen Kennedy apart in the press. Even though he did, it just, they don't have their fights in public. In other words, they're not white trash. Because I know you all, someone watching right now has white trashy people in their life that have family members that just walk around in public going, why are you wearing that dress? You knew I was going to wear this dress. And they just, why are you talking to that girl? You know the kind of people we're talking about, white trash. And Disney's not like that. Disney keeps their cards close to their breast, and they keep their fights private, unless they're employees of Disney who love to go online and post stupid shit publicly and piss off fans, and then make it the fans' fault that they got angry. How dare you get angry about us mocking you and what you love?
It happens. I mean, of course, we could go with the whole Star Trek Discovery and everybody just assume that it didn't happen and see if that works.
Yeah. This is not the Star Trek film we were looking for.
I must emote. I have feelings.
I'm not going to write it into the script why you should care. I'm just simply going to emote on camera so you care.
I will explain science because we don't do that. It's all
worst science ever. I swear to God. I have so many, physics, guys, physicists, and they work in this industry. They work in the sciences, and they're like, why don't they consult people for these shows? That's not how. What? Time travel doesn't work that way.
They have an emotional coach that will get to the emotional heart of the story they're trying to talk about.
Alex Kurtzman doesn't give two shits about science, and his science fiction is like the science fiction of like the teens back when nobody knew anything about science and just assumes that everyone will be cool with that. And of course, some of my friends loved Star Trek Discovery, and none of them understand science. And so they're like, why are you so upset?
It's science fiction by way of the 19th century.
Even though there was good science fiction back then, H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, but really a lot of the science fiction that came out really was pulpy. It just wasn't very good.
And that's what we have in Discovery.
Yeah. So let's get off our rants, and we're going to get down to some Saturday morning cartoons.
There we go.
Because we love cartoons.
Cartoons are good.
And we grew up in the same era, and we have these same favorite shows. And he and I are probably a small number of the population that actually know that there was an animated Lone Ranger cartoon, which we will talk about, not this episode, but in another episode. But today we're going to talk about what?
The New Adventures of Batman.
Oh, that's right, 1978.
Yes. It is a Filmation cartoon.
And we both love Filmation because Filmation brought us Star Trek, the animated series. Filmation was also involved with Josie and the Pussycats. Was that them? No, who was it? What else did they do? Because I know I watched a lot of
Filmation did, they did Flash Gordon. They did Tarzan. They did...
I like Tarzan, yeah.
Tarzan was really good. The Lone Ranger. They did Superman. They did...
the New Adventures of Superman. Back in the 60s. 66, I think is when that...
Basically, this show that we're talking about is really a lot of the animation, the cells and artworks that was used in Filmation's 60s version of Batman. And they just added a few new animated stuff and also combined it also was able to put forward something really different from the cartoon that they were known for in the 60s, which is they were able to hire Adam West and Burt Ward to provide voices for those characters in the 78 version.
Which, as fans of the original 66 series, we of course flocked to watch the show. But we were all massively disappointed with the show because they were really weird. The storylines were not very well plotted and planned out. The stories were really thin, and it just seemed to be a marketing ploy more than anything, which is why I believe that it only got one season, because the kids just were tuning out. We'll just watch something else that's better. And of course, one of the better shows is... even though it didn't get really good until the 80s, was Super Friends. Which
Super Friends was actually a few years before this cartoon. Super Friends
started.
It's 1973. This show started in 1977.
77, 78. And basically, they did something. It was a major coup, getting Adam West and Burt Ward to come in and voice the characters. And of course, it's awesome hearing them, but they're not saying really interesting lines. They're not really taking advantage of having them, because they had this great camaraderie on screen, and we weren't getting that through the voice work.
And it was pretty much not much really different than the 1968 to 1969 animated series that pretty much all the artwork and everything came from. And again, the only big difference is during that time period, which was at the height of the Batman television series popularity, was at that time they didn't have Adam West and Burt Ward to provide the voices. And so having Adam West and Burt Ward for the 77 cartoon made it really stand out. Now, for me personally, good show, fun, colorful, one of the three better Filmation cartoons of the decade, although I rank Star Trek slightly higher.
Oh, it was the best of all of them in my opinion, other than Lone Ranger, which really loved that cartoon. And I loved Tarzan too. What I loved about Tarzan was the artwork. It was really, they used that classic look from the comics, and it was really well done. But they, Filmation did something that I really liked in some of those shows, was they used rotoscoping. They did a lot of rotoscoping. And this is before He-Man and Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Because they did a shitload of rotoscoping on those.
Yeah.
But this was something different. And so we really loved that because it really looked like the characters. And
it's fun. I mean, a lot of these episodes, all this stuff has been put out on DVD. I don't know.
They're available on DC Universe.
Yes, DC Universe has all of this, so you can go.
I've watched them all over and over and over and over again.
You can just go ahead and just enjoy yourself watching all of the Filmation superhero cartoons from DC Comics, and it's worth your time. You know, in many ways, I think the Filmation animated DC stuff is really what the CW Berlanti stuff aspires to be.
And you can judge that how you want.
I'm not really trying to throw too much shade. I'm just saying it's, you know.
Because they were very thinly written. Not the best writing. But were fun. Star Trek, on the other hand, was that rarity. Because they actually had real writers. David Gerald in particular, and even though they didn't have Walter Koenig back as Chekhov on the show, he did direct, I think, 2 episodes
of the Star Trek series. Yeah.
So it was we got him back in that way. But
Filmation is just an incredible company. Go ahead and as soon as you're done watching this show, check out the Filmation documentary that you can also find right here on YouTube. You're going to learn all this incredible stuff about the history of this company. It was actually the last American company for animation in the United States. Because if you'll notice, there's a lot of animated stuff, even to this day, where a bulk of the work is actually done outside the United States. Filmation was the last full studio where everything they did was done right here in the good old US of A. And so really check out that documentary and check out a few of the cartoons. Star Trek, New Adventures of Batman, the 68 version, as well as the 77 version. And
Netflix and Amazon both have the animated series.
Yep.
And, from Star Trek. And DC Universe has the...
DC Comics version of the Filmation stuff. So,
So there's places to watch them.
Yeah. And
so anyway, with that, I guess we're done with Saturday. I hope you finished that bowl of cereal before we got off here. And we'll be back Monday. We'll have some new stuff to talk about. And until then, hey man, like us, please. Tell us how much you love us. Love us. We need your love. Subscribe. Click that bell for updates because we do a show every day of the week except for Sunday. But we're talking about doing something, and maybe on Monday we'll talk about our idea of what we want to do on Sundays. So with that, I guess this is Pop Culture Minefield. Keith
and Gerry.
And we're out of here. See you guys. Get off the lawn.
Y'all come back now, you hear?